Hello, it is SimpforTyrie. We haven't done this in a while. It's been like 2 weeks. But I'm back for the SimpforTyrie Podcast, episode number 5. Still trying to figure out a name for it. But for today's episode, it's actually going to be somewhat of a shorter one. I'm going to talk about the Texas Oklahoma shit extravaganza. And then I'm going to mock a few mocks. And I'm going to talk about the Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams stuff briefly. Well, let's get into the show. So I'm going to start off with the Oklahoma and Texas leaving the Big 12 Conference. This is one of the biggest moves in the history of college football, because this move is going to destroy the Big 12, and then their first two options to replace them were ULL and LA Tech. That is just brainless. There are so many better schools you could have chosen. There are schools like SMU, Houston, UCF, Nevada, although Nevada has small facilities. But there are so many better schools that they could have tried to offer to join the Big 12 Conference, but they didn't choose them. They go for schools that are probably going to cost them less than that TV deal, and that actually aren't even going to make them the same amount of money. If I were the Big 12 commissioner, I would have been offering SMU, Houston, UCF, or even Tulsa, these thriving group of 5 schools. We're at the point where location doesn't really matter for conference. Hell, they could have offered Cincinnati, but their first choice was ULL and LA Tech. What? Oh my god. I guess I could also break this into the SEC's trying to recruit Ohio State, Clemson, Michigan, and what's the other school? I'll try to get the top of my head. Crap. I'll just quickly check this. I made a tweet about did I make a tweet about it? Hold on. Yeah, you guys saw that. Then some Grayson McCall, 22, but can I find this? I can't find that. Where was it? Okay, now I'm back here. But they're basically trying to recruit 4 big schools after Oklahoma and Texas to join the conference. Or the SEC is. And what that's going to do, if those schools joined, the ACC is going to fall apart. The Big 10 is going to fall apart. You're destroying the entirety of college football just to have one super conference. The NCAA should not allow this. And if they did, that is inexplicable. It's destroying what's been built up for 150 years. But for positives on like Oklahoma and Texas joining the SEC, Oklahoma, or what, I'm going to talk about this for both Oklahoma and Texas. What not many people have realized is Texas A&M is a huge recruiting advantage right now because they were the only team in Texas that was in the SEC, they have the pitch where they could go to these recruits and say, we're playing on this big stage. We're playing against the best of the best. But before, Oklahoma and Texas couldn't say that. But now, with them joining the SEC, they're on an even playing field with A&M. I think Oklahoma could end up competing consistently as one of the top 5 recruiting classes because they already are recruiting incredibly well, and that's without having the SEC recruiting pitch. If Oklahoma can make their defense a consistent strength, there is no reason why they, in theory, couldn't compete with Alabama, or not even beat Alabama, just like at least make it a consistent competition, or even beat them sometimes. With Texas, I feel like people are overstating that, oh, they couldn't compete in the Big 12. Tom Herman was not a good coach. Steve Sarkisian is an offensive mind I respect a ton. I think he kind of was screwed by Atlanta because he ran a great offense while he wasn't in Atlanta, and his scheme needs a great running back, and he didn't even have a great running back when he was in Atlanta outside for his first year in Atlanta, when Devonta Freeman was still in his prime. But Texas, who was starting to recruit really well now with Sark, they could start recruiting even better with the SEC pitch, kind of like a Texas A&M. So now I want to transition to mocking the mocks after I kind of just went on a bit of a rant. Gonna start the PFN one. I chose this one because the Hail Mary podcast, Alex Barber, he did a mock the mock on this, so I kind of got this mock from him, although it wasn't his. It's PFN's, obviously. So let's get into this. Sam Howell, number 1 to the Texans. I'm going to say this, because I actually haven't mentioned this. Sam Howell, at the moment, is a better QB, but I would still take Spencer Rattler over him because Spencer Rattler is absurdly talented. And I think if you're the Texans, because they have a great supporting cast for a quarterback, relative to most teams, they're in a great position to take a Spencer Rattler. Sam Howell, I view as a high floor quarterback. And Howell I want to go to more of a team ready to win, I guess. Which isn't Houston. Their defense is abysmal. Then Detroit Lions, Spencer Rattler. I've talked about this, but I don't think Rattler is a kneecap biter or just a Dan Campbell type of guy. But I don't see something that would say he wouldn't work out in Detroit. I think he would actually work out in Detroit because they would have a good supporting cast if they can add some weapons. But I just don't think Dan Campbell's the coach that would want to take him. But obviously I can't interview him, so I'm not going to make any assessment on that. Then, going number 3, Kayvon Thibodeau. If he's there, you just take him and laugh your ass off at the rest of the league because you'll have Josh Allen and KT. That would be ridiculous. And then 4 to the Jets, Kyer Elam. I'm trying to get more All-22 from connections, but that's a process. So I'm not going to make much assessments on him, but from what I've heard from everyone is that he's phenomenal. So I guess I'm going to say that's a good pick for the Jets. Then Evan Neal to the Bengals. I was talking down a little bit on Neil a while ago, but I've actually come up on him because my issue was he was really raw, but he progressed so much as the season went on. Going from his Texas A&M to his Ohio State game is night and day. I think he is just an... Oh my god. I think he's just an unbelievable athlete. His upside is limitless. He just needs to continue to show that development track he's currently on. And then Derek Stingley to the Eagles. I could be wrong, but I want to say that they want to run more of a cover, or just like a zone-heavy scheme. My one issue that I found with Derek Stingley, I have two issues that I found with him when I was watching him. I think he kind of struggles to anticipate when playing corner, and then the other one is, I'm not sure if it's just me, but he kind of has T-Rex arms. I don't think he'll ever be that great of a press corner, but I think he could be phenomenal at everything else. Should I actually give my analysis on this New York Giants Drake Jackson pick, or should I just skip over it? Because if you've followed me, you should know that I'm not a Drake Jackson fan. Like, he does nothing well at this point. He's honestly just an athlete. And I don't think he's better than Azeez Ojulari. He's maybe better than Lorenzo Carter, but Carter will be better day one than Drake Jackson. But Jackson got absolutely mauled by tight ends against UCLA. I can't remember which one it was, but I want to say both the UCLA tight ends are really light as well. But Drake Jackson honestly doesn't offer much as a pass rusher. What I disagree with PFN right here says stop the run. If he can stop the run, he's not getting mauled by tight ends. And they're saying, with the surefire QBs off the board, there's Carson Strong, Grayson McCall, Malik Willis. He's not an as surefire, but it's a great situation for him. But there are quarterbacks still on the board. And then 8, George Karlaftis. That is my favorite pick so far. He is a game-wrecking pass rusher. And he's on the correct career trajectory. As a true freshman, he was solid. But then, in the 2 games he played in 2020, he was the best player on the field. I love Karlaftis. And then Kyle Hamilton to the Panthers. That is a great fit. He is one of the freakiest athletes we will ever see come out of college. At 6'4", 219. Oh, I heard a really good player comp for him recently, but I can't remember what it was. But Kyle Hamilton is probably the best safety prospect to come out since Jamal Adams or Derwin James. And he still has another year where he can show development. And we're already saying this about him as a sophomore. Granted, you could bring up Grant Delpit because he was Derwin James as a sophomore, but then just kind of fell off as a junior. It's a bit of a hot take, but I don't know if the Browns are going to use Grant Delpit correctly. Because they have Ronnie Harrison and John Johnson, who both play the role that that Grant Delpit would. Now, why is this not responding? What the heck? Okay. Then 10, Christian Harris, the Giants. Let me think about this. They were kind of linked to Micah Parsons. because of the role he played in that defense, but Christian Harris doesn't offer the blitzing and run defending that Parsons does. But he is the athlete that Parsons was, and still is, obviously. Do I like this pick? I don't know. I just think he has to show a ton of development this year. As of right now, I don't think I would draft him in the top 20 or maybe the first round. I could potentially think about him towards the end of the first round, but 11 is way too rich. Then DeMarvin Leal. What do I think of this? Obviously, DeMarvin Leal, if he's right there, you take him 10 times out of 10. But I'm not sure where he would play, although he would probably just be the long-term replacement to Shelby Harris. But honestly, the more I think about this, that's a phenomenal fit, because he could take year to come into his own, learning a new position, because he's a college edge, but has played some 3-tech or IDL. But his upside's possibly the highest in this class outside of like Kayvon Thibodeau or Spencer Rattler. But he's the clear-cut IDL 1. Then Garrett Wilson to the Raiders. I actually really like this pick. I don't know if I would take him 12, but they have no receivers on roster. Their receiving core is bad. If Henry Ruggs can't step up, they are the worst receiving core in the league. But Garrett Wilson, I don't know if he's ever going to become a star receiver or like a superstar receiver, but I think he'd be a long-time star receiver. I think he'll be like a low-end number 1 receiver, a high-end number 2. But I think he's going to be a really good receiver. Just the athletic traits probably keeping him out of being a number 1. Then Treylon Burks. Again, I'm like trying to get all 22 for him, but everyone that I've talked to loves this guy. And I guess he's kind of in the mold of an A.J. Brown. But if I were them, I would probably want to go for more of a freak athlete. But then again, this class just doesn't have the freak athletes. Then for Kenyon Green to Washington football team, that's not a very good pick, if I'm being honest. Yeah, that's not a very good pick. Their IOL is perfectly fine. Eric Flowers is a really good guard. Chase Roullier is a great center. Brandon Sheriff is a top 5 right guard. Why do you take Kenyon Green? That makes no sense. And then Charles Cross to the Vikings. Why? They have their tackles perfectly fine. Why? I don't know, man. And then the Chiefs trade up for Chris Olave, I guess? Honestly, that's a good fit. I don't know if I would take him top 20, to be honest. But Olave is a really skilled receiver. I say skilled. I don't think he has a high ceiling. But he's a great complement to Mecole Hardman and Tyreek Hill. Yeah, that's a really good fit for the Chiefs. And then Isaiah Spiller, you do not take a running back there. That's all. That's my entire analysis. I don't think Malik Willis will have the situation to come in and sit for a year. He's not ready day 1, period. If you try to argue that, you're wrong. And then Jordan Battle, that's too rich. I still think I would want Brandon Joseph over him because Brandon Joseph has an insanely high upside. And then Ahmad Gardner, he's phenomenal. I have a game of his all 22. That's about it. but I'm trying to get more. And then Myjai Sanders. When I was watching Cincinnati, I actually didn't pay attention to Myjai, so I'm not going to act like I know much about him. And then Zion Nelson of the Cardinals. Zion Nelson. He's solid. I need to watch more of him before I can make a full assessment. Zach Harrison of the Jets. That is the spot for Zach Harrison. Robert Saleh loves his big, long-armed, wide 9 edge. Like at Ark Armstead. That is carbon copy Zach Harrison. Jalen Wiedermeyer, I do not think he's a first-round talent because he just doesn't have the athletic traits that I'd want for a first-round tight end. Andrew Booth, I'm not an Andrew Booth fan. Into the Dolphins, that makes me not like, or in the Dolphins, I hate that pick. Noah Igbenogany can play outside if they do trade Howard. And then Drake London, some people are hyped on him. I'm not very hyped on him. He's aight. Oh, hold on. Alright, there we go. My computer is running low on battery. Sorry to quickly plug it in. Perion Winfrey to the Bills. I haven't watched him. Kingsley Enagbare. He's solid. I don't know about the team fit though. I think he's more of like Seattle 3 type of D-end who can play edge and then kick inside. Rasheed Walker to the Ravens. I love that fit. He'll have to learn right tackle, but Rasheed Walker is a mauling run blocker, but just has to clean some things up in pass protection. I still need to watch Owen Papo. Aiden Hutchinson, I like that fit, but if I'm the Bucks, I need to backtrack. If I'm the Bucks, I want more high athletic upside in my edge rusher. I'm just not certain if that's Aiden Hutchinson. I think he'll be a really solid high floor edge. I think the Chiefs are a great fit for him. Brenton Cox Jr. I actually like that fit because he's more of a 3-4 edge, but has versatility. I think Brandon Staley would have a fit for him. Next mock. Hello. Hey. What happens when you have 85 different ads on the screen at once? Oh, was that the... My god. There you go. One Rattler. That's a good pick. Lions with Howell. Personally, I don't see the upside to take Howell number 2. That's just me. Thibodeau to the Jets. I don't think the Jets will be picking 3, but I guess if you're picking 3, he's a Saleh type of edge rusher. And then Evan Neal to the Bengals. I love it. Derek Stingley to the Eagles. Depending on what their scheme is, I'll like it. Kyle Hamilton to the Jags. I would take Karlaftis if I was them, because you'd just be wasting the investment you made in Andre Sisco, who I think is a pure free safety. Willis to the Falcons is a phenomenal fit. And I really like that. Matt Ryan is the perfect mentor for him. No. You could copy and paste what I said on the last mock. DeMarvin Leal, I love it. They have nobody on the interior. I'm not mocking a quarterback to the Panthers until I see how Darnold does. That's my stance. I'm just going to skip over that. Keaton Ryan Fitzpatrick Slovis. He's a carbon copy of Ryan Fitzpatrick. That is not a good pick. To be completely honest. I don't get why they would take him, and I don't see the upside. That's just a ridiculous steal. The Vikings would be laughing at the entire league for letting that happen. I don't know what else to add. Zion Nelson, the Steelers, they desperately need tackle. Oh my god. So, I don't think Wiedermeyer is a first round pick, let alone the 15th overall pick. And he's not even better than Adam Troutman. Charles Cross, I need to watch more. Zach Harrison to the Cowboys, I love it. He's a perfect complement to Marcus Lawrence. I have no clue who this is, so I'm not going to add anything on it. Sevyn Banks, why wasn't he in the last mock? What the hell? But I think Sevyn Banks is a little bit raw and has developing to do, as do all cornerbacks. What the hell? And then Tyler Linderbaum, he's the number one center pretty easily. He's a stud. Then Kenyon Green, they honestly don't even need offensive line anymore. Unless they cut Brian Bulaga after this year and kick Filer back out to tackle. Full time. I already talked about Winfrey on the last mock that I don't have a ton on him. Kyer Elam, that is a steal, as far as I know. Rasheed Walker to the Colts. They're more of a pass-a-lot West Coast scheme. They're more of a half air raid, I guess that would be the term. So I'm not sure how great of a fit he is, but I think it could work out. Packers Olave, that's actually a really good fit. He could be almost like a poor man's Devontae Adams. George Pickens to the Browns, this is a fit that is unbelievable. Because when healthy, George Pickens is the clear-cut wide receiver 1 in this draft. Like, if he can stay healthy, he's a top 10 player. And the Browns are in a perfect spot to take a shot on that. And then the Ravens get Garrett Wilson. They just invested a ton in wide receiver. I don't see them doing it again. Isaiah Spiller to the Dolphins. I actually really like that pick. John Mechie to the Lions. That's a great pick. Andrew Booth. I disagree. I just don't see the crazy high upside in him. Breece Hall to the Bucks. I actually really like that pick. He'll be a pretty big upgrade over Ronald Jones. Justin Ross to the Chiefs. That is a phenomenal pick and a perfect complement to Tyreek Hill. That is an unbelievable pick. You're pairing Tyreek Hill with basically Courtland Sutton. Darian Kendrick. Wait, this is a 2-round mock? Oh, wow. But Darian Kendrick to the Texans.
That's a good spot for Kendrick. Like, I'm talking about in terms of draft position. That's a good spot. But he is just wickedly raw, but has an unbelievable upside. Aiden Hutchinson to the Lions. That's a good pick. Good fit. Ahmad Gardner. Actually, hold on. Hutchinson really isn't a 3-4 end or a 3-4 edge because they're going to run the 3-4 split safety quarters defense. And I don't know if Hutchinson is a 3-4 edge. That's just an unbelievable steal. I don't know what else to add. Ventrell Miller. I really like Ventrell Miller. So I love that pick. Nick Broker. I've heard some good things about him. I need to watch him myself. Charlie Collard of the Jaguars. This would be Isaiah Likely for me. Isaiah Likely is my tight end 1. He is an unreal athlete. I'm not sure if he's Kyle Pitts fast, but he just might be. He's as fast as a lot of wide receivers. And you put it in a tight end body. Nick Benito to the Falcons. That's actually a really good fit. They're running more of a 3-4 defense now. And I think he's going to have, with another year of development, he's going to be an absolute stud. I think this is Thayer Munford. That's a great... Actually... I don't know why you're conceding that Andrew Thomas isn't good by taking that. Andrew Thomas was good last year. Nobody's going to let you know that because they don't want you to hear the truth, but... Or it's mostly because most people don't know how to watch offensive line tape. But that's a story for a different time. Or just a different conversation to have. Cade Mays is a stud. I like that pick. Now, Brandon Joseph, that is unreal. Actually, hold on. I didn't realize that it was the Jets. The Jets taking him? No. They're set at safety, in my opinion. To a different team, that would get an 8 grade, in my opinion. Well, I don't know what else to add there. Brenton Cox Jr., that is a steal. What? Washington? He's an edge rusher. I don't know, man. People must think he's an off-ball... Or this draft must think he's an off-ball linebacker. And they think... Well... And they're just calling him a 3-4 linebacker. Just because that's what it technically read on a depth chart. Bubba Bolden, I love that. Matt Corral of the Steelers, if he could sit for a year, that would be a great pick. Tyler Davis, I love that pick. Desmond Ridder, that is unreal. Jordan Battle of the Cowboys, he's a great compliment to Malik Hooker or Kazee, depending on who stays. Sheridan Jones, I don't have a ton to add because I need to watch more of him. Devin Lloyd's a stud. How is Enigbare there? I think Enigbare in the Dolphins scheme, he would probably be like the Lawrence guy. Like a 4 tech all the way to a 1 tech. That would work out. I think Josh Jobe, that is a steal. I love Josh Jobe. Master Teague. This is an optimistic projection, I guess. Abraham Lucas. I need to watch more, but from what I've seen, he's solid. And then Merlin Robinson. I need to watch more of him, but from what I've seen, he's solid. Alec Lindstrom, he's really good. That's kind of a steal. Myjai Sanders, I haven't really watched him. Jackson Kirkland. Kirkland's a rock, but I don't see why you would take him for the Ravens. Wait, did they actually they're saying he's a tackle. I think he's a guard. He's very similar to AVT, in my opinion. I kind of got excited because I thought this was ZTF. ZTF is a monster of an edge rusher, but ruptured his Achilles. He's a freak player. He has an unbelievable upside. I haven't actually heard of Martin Emerson. Zion Johnson is a rock. Has a bit of development to do. Jeremy Ruckert, that's a bit too rich. Zach Pickens, I need to watch him. And then this is Trent McDuffie, that is a steal. McDuffie's a beast. Him and Kyler Gordon, I think they're the next two top 50 Washington defensive back picks. And then I want to end with the Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to talk about the Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams stuff briefly. This is basically them saying this is their last run together. And this must mean that Rodgers is going to play and he's going to get traded next year. As a Jordan Love fan, I'm happy for him. So, the Packers are still going to be a dominant team. Just how big of a weakness is Kevin King? That's about all I can add. Although, with Devontae Adams, the Packers would be dumb enough to not franchise tag him. But if he got traded, Raiders makes a ton of sense. I've thrown out the Chiefs a lot because the Chiefs are one of the teams high up on the cap does not exist spectrum. And they would be able to make it work. Him and Tyreek Hill would be the best wide receiver duo we've seen in who knows how long. I don't know what else to add there. And then Aaron Rodgers to Denver makes way too much sense still. That's going to do it for the podcast. Had a great show. Thanks for watching. And see you soon.